illustration. When you first walk into any organization, macam I dulu when I was with the World Bank Group, in my many travels around the world doing this review, what I enjoyed most is this auditing is not just coming up with auditing reports, but essentially we build capacity of those that we visited, build their ability to the next level. But anyway, that's just the point. But one of the first few things when you walk into organization is to see what is this organization about? What do they do? Okay, whether it is a profit-oriented organization or non-profit organization, NGO, foundation, whatever. But when you first go into that organization with that understanding, what you wish to see is a structure that when you look at it, it tells you what it does. That is interesting, that is important. And what that is what we call organization chart. Organization chart is a chart that gives you the picture of who, what position is doing what, reporting to who, what, and so on down the bowels of that organization. Typically, you will see the boss, assistant boss, and break it up into the various organizations. And typically, you will have finance and admin, you will have operations, COO, then probably marketing and operational issues, and so on, and go on down the ranking. So that is important. You have to have that. In many of our visits, when we go in, when we step in, we don't see that on any walls in the main office. Then we begin to ask these key questions. Where are your organization chart? Because from there we know what they do, at what level, do what, and who do they report to, and so on, including safety nets. Safety nets essentially is a line that takes you to an area where things can be assessed independently for betterment of the organization. And in the World Bank Group, it is called the Ombudsman, where people take their grouses, their grievances, or even their areas that they can suggest for improvements. It goes to the Ombudsman, and Ombudsman will assess it and take it to the various units, some are the board of directors or the committee or various others. Okay, I'm beginning to digress a bit sometimes. So when you see that, then that gives you the impression that the organization is somewhat constructively organized, and that's important. Of course, so the next question is, you will know the organization does what, mission, vision, and so on. And from there you can see how it is translated into the organization, with the various personalities holding what position, from the top right on to the bottom, to the junior executives, even to the storekeeper, or to the janitors, to the tea ladies. Then once you have that, I can stress that again, because that is the key construct of the organization. Without that, it is hard to begin in defining what the organization does, who is going to handle it, and so on. There is, in some other terms, we call it the control environment. It's a pyramid. Right at the bottom is the control environment. It creates an environment that sets the tone for the following actions and plans and coordinations and controllings to take place down the line. Okay, once you have the organization chart, another interesting approach is, when you talk about organization chart, you should start from the universe. Sorry for the big term, but the big picture of the organization in terms of what it's supposed to do, what it's supposed to achieve. Macam katalah kilang. Kilang nak buat biskut. Simple lah. Biskut dengan apa yang ada ni, berapa boleh achieve, sales dan sebagainya. Dan berapa dalam jangka masa berapa dan sebagainya. Then you work backwards, simple terms lah, jangan tak go into detail and complication. With that bigger picture of vision, things to do, targets, berapa setahun dan sebagainya. From there you work backwards, you kind of know what sort of people, what type of people that you need, you require. Which then goes into coming up, formulating your organization chart. In simple terms lah, don't go into detail sangat. But broadly, that kind of mindset approach or thought process can help you come up with a wholesome organization chart. And once you have put the chart in place with the personality people in the positions that you have created, barulah you come up with their own job description. In many practices that I've gone to, we don't call job description sangat, because job description ni sounds like too trite and pedestrian. Describe your job. Describe your job. I describe my job. I do this. But in many practices, we call it terms of reference. Terms of reference of the CEO, terms of reference of the COO, terms of reference of the CFO, CMO, CIO, and the various positions. Terms of reference is broadly used because it defines the what, why, how, when of the position. What is the position called? Why is the position? Why do we need this position? Why do we need this assistant, whatever? Why? Okay, that is spelled out. Essentially, it is part of the big planning to achieve the overall goal tadi yang kita cerita pasal before coming out with the organization chart. Why is the position? Okay. What is the name of the position? Why is the position? And who is the position reporting to? And how is it going to report to? Dari segi frequency, monthly, whatever lah. Itu mungkin akan bagi detail part, but broadly it says who is reporting to, and then the list of accountability and the list of things that you are responsible for, and if there is a need to give some definitions or descriptions on what you're not supposed to do, what you're not supposed to encroach on, then you can spell it out and to be more specific about things. And finally, some elements of safety net, if that is, katalah dia ada grouses, grievances yang kita buat hati dengan bos dia, he needs to sort this out, resolve this. Mungkin safety net dia pergi ke HR, pergi ke boss of his boss, or pergi ke audit committee, or pergi ke ombudsman. Many people take this for granted because they see that you're supposed to do this, dah, habis cerita. But walhal dalam kehidupan manusia ni, siapa yang tak ada komplain kan? Bukanlah kita nak tolerate complain atau accommodate complain, but there are some complaints that is valid, that is legit, that needs to be looked at for the betterment of the organisation. Itu yang dalam World Bank, we have this ombudsman department, which is big lah in the World Bank. Even in IMF, I remember that so well, that ombudsman is highly regarded. Ombudsman department, you can look it up, what the meaning of ombudsman. Essentially, it's the place where people can take their, adalah, is defined properly, janganlah main complain je kan. Tapi it's nicely defined. Itu yang dalam World Bank, they have gone through all these corporate stages kan. They come up with a lot of crispy things yang definitive, descriptive, thematic, programmatic. Sini jauh lagi. So ombudsman is one issue yang in many terms of reference it is mentioned that this is your safety net, for instance. Jadi we call it terms of reference because it spells out what is the position, why is the position, who is the position reporting to, for what, on what, when, how often, frequency dan sebagainya. and probably also spells out the list of accountability yang dia sepatut buat lah, the do's, and by optimum standard, the convention practices in many HR, each of the terms of reference shouldn't be more than 7, 5 to 7. Kalau lebih pada 7 dah banyak sangat tanggungjawab dia, tugas-tugasan dia. Minimum 5, maximum 7. The things that he has to do to achieve, which essentially kalau kaya pernah dengar KPI kan, this will be translated to KPI, apa yang dia sepatut achieve dari segi measurable, non-measurable dan sebagainya. And then against correspond to that list of accountability are the responsibilities. And kalau nak expand a bit, kalau perlu, but jarang, the things you're not supposed to do, the don'ts, the do's and the don'ts. Then the safety net and some element of reporting lah. Bukan some element, reporting is important. So that's what we call terms of reference. We famously call it TOR. Anything pun TOR. Kadang-kadang sampai ke bukan job description je. Anything that we do outside of this, mana TOR? Katakan pertemuan joint venture ataupun perbincangan di antara organisasi kita dengan organisasi lain kan. What links the two, normally kita call it memorandum of understanding, agreement, yeah. But what I've gone through in my years of corporate practices and corporate attentions, we always call it terms of reference, because terms of reference will encompass broad things from back to the 5 W's tadi lah. What, why, when, who, where, how. Now, once you cover that, pretty much like when you go into a meeting blind. Katalah kaya you will go into a meeting kan without being given title, topic dan sebagainya, but you were somewhat given some broad topics on what to talk about a meeting that you will call like in 10 minutes. Kita tak prepare, tak tahu benda kan. But I punya thought process is always the 5 W's. You go into a meeting, we look into the title of the meeting. What is it about? Why is it? How is it? Where is it? When is it? Dan sebagainya. Then you begin to ask important key questions related to the 5 W's on the topic that will be discussed. Then you begin to build your thought process, your opinion, your ideas, your thoughts. Setengah orang kalau dia tak ada benda ni, dia masuk meeting dia, aku baru dipanggil 10 minit tadi je, tak tahu benda nak bincang. But when you have that 5 W's in your thought process, any topics pun, even though 5 minutes later you are going to a meeting within 5 minutes saja, immediately your thought process is the 5 W's. Masuk into the meeting, tengok topik, okay, my 5 W's. What is it? What is it about? Why is it? How is it? When? Where? Who? Then you begin to build your elements of discussion and so on. So balik pada job description ni tadi, essentially is job description pada ayah is almost a misnomer. Misnomer ni tak sesuai lah istilahnya. I would rather call it terms of reference. Job description ni literal meaningnya describe a job. Literal lah. So itu is kind of a bukan loosey-goosey punya term, but it's not sharp enough lah in my assessment. I rather call it terms of reference of the position. So hope it helps. But to recap, coming from the broad vision, mission of the organization, what you want to achieve over a period, and then pull it back, work backwards on the kind of things that you need. And this is interesting, the kind of things that you need is bukan saja people, sometimes money, sometimes back to the tree kaya. Yeah, I remember telling you that we always talk about people, money, because money ni related to what you want to do kan. You need money and money ni related to equipment, resources, computer sebagainya, and then the legitimacy of what you're going to do. Legitimacy ni penting. Kita nak buat tapi atas media platform apa? Syarikat ke? Suka-suka ke? So legitimacy of what you want to go on with, these are the three issues yang always we talk about. Ada kelulusan kerajaan ke, permitnya macam mana, kena buat syarikat ke, the legal entity lah. So the people, money ni, resources dan sebagainya, duit, and then the legitimacy of the platform, the media yang you want to operate on. So bila work backwards, then these are the people that you need, daripada CEO sampailah ke janitor dengan tea lady. And then from there, you work on the terms of reference of the position, which will include, but may not be necessarily properly defined, safety net. Three-legged stool tu the corporate governance lah, yang I always stress that corporate governance is consequentially stood on what I always call a three-legged stool. Three-legged stool ni, without one being strong, the essence of corporate governance will be weak and filled with weaknesses and shortcomings. And these are the management, which essentially execute the jobs of the organisation, what they are supposed to do to achieve. And then we have the board of directors, who works as an oversight function to oversee the duties of the management. And then we have the assurance group. Assurance group ni to provide the assurance to the board that the management is doing the right thing. And who are the assurance group? Assurance group are essentially the auditors, whether they are external auditors or internal auditors, and they are also the regulatory bodies. Kalau macam public listed company, kita ada CAT, Bursa Malaysia, kita ada Securities Commission, kita ada a few others independent assurance bodies yang provide assurance to the board and to the stakeholders. Bukan board saja, to the stakeholders. Kadang-kadang kalau public listed companies, stakeholders je public shareholders, kan, pemegang saham umum awam. We need to provide assurance. Assurance ni meyakinkan kepada mereka ni that the management ni yang diberi tanggungjawab untuk memenuhi cita-cita syarikat melakukan kerja dengan betul. So these are the three-legged stool of corporate governance. Itu belum saya sebut. I can drill this down until tomorrow, what the management supposed to do, internal control dan sebagainya. And talking about directors, what they're supposed to do, their segi responsibility, their own terms of reference, directors ni ada juga. And then the assurance group. The assurance group ni auditors, external, internal, and the regulatory bodies, termasuk yang saya sebut tadi. Register of company pun sama. Register of company fall into this category. SSM kan, Bar Council, Securities Commission, Bursa Malaysia sebagainya. Their job is to place regulation and to do independent assessment appraisal over the management, to provide assurance to the directors and stakeholders that this group of people are doing their job according to what they're supposed to do, as designed to do. Two elements of corporate governance. I can drill down these three bodies until the cow comes home, until tomorrow. I pun dah buat banyak research, and I even wrote a book on this for Bursa Malaysia and Securities Commission on corporate governance and internal control. Okay, that's it. A lot more coming.